Welcome, everybody, to episode 98 of Detention. There aren't actually 98 episodes of Detention, but if I number this episode like 7, but it comes after episode 98, I feel like it's just going to cause chaos. Maybe one day we do like a rewatch for the DVD, do the
Ooh.
commentary and stuff. But I am here with Crowan. We don't have Lemon today. He's in detention, as is Leg Day, because they're both off doing something in Toronto. But why don't you bring us up to speed on what happens today, Kron?
Oh boy. All right. Little recap. Well, you see, there was this character named Alexander Blythe, and some things might have happened last time we saw him, which partook in a ritual that went boom and was thwarted by the forces of the other characters and staff of IOTH Academy. Um, and the Book of Dawn, that crazy little old thing. Yeah, I started doing the one thing, and then in response, Alex had wanted to survive. And survive he did in the void for a long time. But finally, he got out of the void and found himself in a strange, dark place. A little bit of a caves, crypts below what he had recently or later discovered to be the Temple of Myrick. And in rediscovering how to be a person with like a physical form, which was very difficult, stumbled across some water. Figured out they needed that. Pretty, valuable for life, food as well, as you would learn later. But started getting attacked by some things down there. But then was saved by a person, a giant named Anacra, who was the keeper of this Myrick's temple, and somehow had known that they were to help out Alex. Took them upstairs to the temple. Bunch of cultists, normal stuff. Also helped him out, gave him food, gave him water, gave him a place to stay, where he started learning some void magic, contacting old Infernals, namely Zethius, first of all, who started making some deals with, exchanging information for a price, of course, as is Zethius's way. Was denied access to the outside because bright and scary, which understandable,
Same.
eventually got out there. Yeah, right, same. Started learning void magic as well, wrote some void stuff down, and that was very particularly interesting to him as well. These void scriptures, wrote through a lot of books, which kept being supplied to them. Very kind, these Myrick cultists people were, to provide all these books in which to just destroy. Then started learning how to do it more permanently with the help of Dakra. With this void speech, learned a few spells, exchanged that information, I suppose, with Zethius for some other dealings, some questions, figuring out just how the world works again, basically. And then try to contact some other Infernals. And Harold, nowhere to really be seen, found right now, but one that did answer the call towards the end was Imago. And Imago sent a little agent. Said, "Yeah, no, we've had dealings before." And Alex, which had figured out from Zethius, his name was Renan, so that's what he goes by now. And Renan had said, "Okay, are we gonna have dealings again in the future?" Which the response from Imago's agent was yes. And that's where he left off on IOTH Academy.
All right, go ahead and give yourself a exposition inspiration on the character sheet of your choice.
Oh yeah. Go back to the base. All right, I'll just write it down in my notes.
So I know that you've been hankering to get back to Alexander for a while.
Oh
How was
yes.
it? Because this is so drastically different. Like, I know I felt like I gave Lemon a huge role playing challenge when I was like, you just experienced 5 years of sensory deprivation in 30 seconds. But this is on a different scale entirely. This is like unimaginable. How is it being back to being Alexander?
Yeah. Firstly, very fun. Obviously, I love Alex getting a chance to play it. This is a very different capacity than it was before. Um, And I was trying to think about that a lot in terms of the perspective of what Garnet had dealt with 5 years in the Void versus this being like, at least, 15,000, 14,000 years in the Void, if not a lot more, actually. So it's just like a complete, like, nothing makes sense anymore. Garnet was just like, oh, it was not just. I feel like Lemon played it really well. This is all weird and all like fucking sus, but like had remembered people and things because 5 years is 5 years. You still remember things. But for Alex, it's like no. At some point, the mental just like snapped and was gone. Has to like relearn everything from the ground up, which certainly a challenge. And I don't want to make it like super like boring, go through like the whole process of it because I think it's not very like that fun to watch. But at least like the first little bit of it, and then kind of time skip. Like yeah, eventually Alex will rediscover these things, but it will take weeks or take like a long time to get back into the swing of that. And I enjoyed the challenge of it. And yeah, just back to playing Alex, obviously in a very different capacity than what I was, originally planning, and then planning after the original plans, and now we're in a third different path completely from it. But Alex persists, and I like it. So yeah, appreciate you allowing this to work out.
Of course. So I'll come out from behind the curtain and tell you that one of the reasons the Herald hasn't shown up, one, because that's not his name.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I don't know what's going on with him
Yeah,
because of
fair.
timelines. You're familiar with
True.
where we left off with our
Yeah.
heroes, and that the Herald is currently in a status of, indeterminate nature. And we just skipped several weeks. And it hasn't even been several weeks since Alex exploded in game time.
Yeah. How long has it been in game time, actually, since that? Like, what, a few days?
Yeah, it's been maybe a week, I think.
A week? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't pinned down that. Like, I am keeping track of the time, but I don't remember exactly what day it was. I bet I could backtrack through the Discord to figure that out. But it has not been several weeks. It's been 1 week at the most.
Yeah, okay. And for, that whole time span of Alex now Renan doing stuff is probably like a month and a half, like a couple months for that whole span. So yeah, that makes sense.
And there's that also, like, the reason that there's a powerful shroud on this place. We already know Void and Shadow Magic can shroud divination spells. But also, I need you to have enough time without being discovered by IOTH Academy or the kids.
Yeah.
To actually do this plot line because they aren't here yet and they can't respond in real time.
Yeah.
So, timelines and asynchronous play are always a huge pain in the ass.
For sure.
But worth. Give me your stars and wishes for today.
Yeah. I mean, I think all this is really fucking cool, but in specific, I think the character of Duckraw and the approach of, learning the whole, I don't know, like hierarchy there, like Seo, Shemirik, and Duckraw, and the kind of point of her being the one to introduce and protect, run into everything is really cool. And even just like the simple things of like asking the same question over and over again is like, maybe a point of like it being a lesson, maybe a test or whatever. I think is just like is a cool thing to chew on for myself and for the character of right now as well, because he's like having to process these things as well of like why these questions, what do they really mean, like what do you really get into, you just want to know, do you want me to know, like is there something else here, like there's a lot of I don't know, like what Brandon perceives as 5D chess there. But yeah, I was just trying to like play the game of figuring things out, and she's obviously a very central role to that. So her character is probably a star. Wish, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things. We'll go swing for the fences here. The big wish of this plot line, I don't want to say like resolving, but at least playing out for a long time. The characters in some capacity of IOTH Academy catching up to it and being in another little clash again with Alex and the others, or Renan and the others. Yeah,
Give me back the antagonist hat, god damn it.
Yes, I was cooking up so much being the antagonist Dark Academy, but RP
Yeah,
Dark Academy.
I know. Oh man, the whole Dark Academy thread. I'm gonna keep that somewhat on the DL until it becomes more widely known. But
Yeah.
it's really funny how all that worked out.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. So it's like just the player I was getting to be like, all right, yeah, we're playing low, like, kingdom management game with the Dark Academy thing. I was like, okay, this is fun. Um and
If you
yeah.
if you feel like doing that again, Myric's Temple will be standing by.
Okay, yeah, probably. I'm
That's
probably down for that.
again, that's mostly is just so that we can continue this story in a way that makes sense given all the ridiculousness that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
But this temple's out there somewhere, and they clearly have like cultists and resources and stuff like that, so they are a force in the world.
Yeah, they can get things and seemingly respond to requests and stuff from them. So yeah, I mean, that sounds good for sure.
So were you I know we left it up to the dice, but I had a completely different dramatic ending in mind. uh but we're here now, and I have
Yeah.
no idea what's going to happen next. I know what Imago wants, but I have no idea what's going to happen next. So it's a good thing that we probably have some time until the next Alex episode.
Yeah, I imagine you would have something cooked up for the ending, a little cliffhanger, because probably last time we're seeing Alex for a while. And it was mostly just for fun because I like fucking RNGing stuff. It's just like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like, what do you really go through all the names? Like, actually, probably because
He's done it
just like,
before.
okay,
It's
yeah, I've done it
literally the reason
before.
he ended up with Zethius.
There's no reason like not to here. The Zethius interaction seemingly going well, knows that there is other names, and he eventually recalls them. So like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Like there's no reason not to. Obviously me just as the little fucking RNG gremlin that I am. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's roll them. It probably won't happen, but then it does. Strangely enough, when I roll things, some cool things happen sometimes. Yeah, definitely was not expecting it to happen, and I was a little bit scared. I was like, oh, maybe like, especially with it didn't really come up this time around, but some of the permanent void trauma, I'll call it, Imago certainly going to proc some of that in the future if they do have dealings. So
There's cool stuff that you worked out that we did not get a chance. I should have put a
that's okay.
thing in there so that we could specifically showcase it. That's
Okay. Some mystery stuff. Not really mystery, but partly mystery stuff.
well now it's a mystery because we've said it out loud, and the tinfoil crew is going to be plotting. So at least we get some intrigue in there.
Yeah, last year with the manga, obviously, so narrow it down pretty pretty extensively. And the other stuff, I guess, which I didn't really specifically say for Alex's like physical form, but the scales, for the audience, the scales that Alex did start to have are now coming out of Void a bit more pronounced. Yeah, extend further out, maybe like even covering a bit more surface area of like his chest, neck, cheeks, probably even like forehead a little bit now as well. Just looks a little bit more outwardly scaled up.
Nick.
Yeah.
First Myric was a silver dragon. The next Myric will be Snick.
I suppose so. You probably don't want to spoil what the ending you had planned was, but any hints? What?
Oh well, you try calling someone's number enough times, eventually they might pick back up.
Okay, all right.
Unless, of course, the call was coming from inside the house.
Oh, true. Okay.
Yeah, there's
I get you.
There's some dream stuff going on, and obviously everyone says, "Oh, Dream the Herald," and well, yes, but there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. The consequences of Alexander's last pre-void actions have not been fully understood yet.
Yeah, that's interesting. Absorbing the whole Book of Dawn and all of that, and that kind of, if I'm understanding, manifesting somewhat in these dreams of, Luminius and all of that. I'm sure there's a lot there in my, me as Crowan brain and like, process and work out so much of it, but there's a lot um going on there, kind of I suppose telling out the IOTH story trajectory there a little bit.
That perspective changed. Like clearly it was IOTH's POV, and then it
And
changed
then
very
yeah,
suddenly.
not that POV. Um oh yeah, because I had written down it's like the how dare you forsake me in time of need, or you run after everything I did, slew monsters, armies, wasteland, yada yada. To get back to them, to her. Yeah. Um I don't know if I actually like know the perspective shift there
That's fine.
as me. Okay.
You're not expected to. You're not required to.
Fair. All right. But it's interesting. Something that it's I mean it's probably more interesting that I don't, because as the weeks go by, even off camera, and these dreams are still happening for Alex, it's like how does he approach them? How do they change? Like how does he talk to anyone about them? Like do we get to the point of actually remembering? Like certainly yes, but at what point do you actually like remember, oh yeah, Ioth was a person, a thing that existed, to actually like get all these memories back? Um which maybe not even memories at that point, but like the knowledge of all these things that I did know of exists, and kind of relearning that. Definitely really interesting.
Once, so I've been trying to kick the tires on the main story, not to like get to the end of it, but just to move time along. I'm fine with this campaign going on for ages. I just want to move time forward for a variety of reasons. So I will figure out where on the timeline Alexander is, and we'll try to, pour some gas on the fire to get the kids caught up. Because then we can, not only does that introduce the possibility of a lovely school reunion, but it also just allows us to background or foreground more Alexander stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can only do so much with the main story being behind. I feel you.
Crawling day by day.
Yeah, I'm so curious. Like, if that does happen to catch up, like, and they do interact again, in what capacity would that even be? Because Alex's perspective is so different now.
Yeah.
And still conflicting, obviously, with the party and stuff. But it's just like, how the reaction of them be to like new Alex perspective shift, having ties in with Mirik, and however that progresses as well with Garnet specifically, is like how that's gonna be
like, not only are you not
wild.
dead, but now you're learning my secret shit from like the person who ruined my life, kind of indirectly.
Yeah, and
You
going to
don't
like
even
be
hate me anymore.
them, or
How dare you?
yeah, just like it would really be like, who the fuck, like, I don't care about you, like
New
you're the
phone, who
person
dis?
who's suffering that, unfortunate. I'm gonna end all that. That's the goal. Nothing against you personally, because yeah, like think about the history. If they do meet again, it's like they would just be like, all right, you fucking actual like NPCs to Alex, like which is kind of crazy.
The emotional devastation. I can't wait. Anything else you want to cover? Thoughts you had? Things you wanted to bring up before we wrap it?
Oh, for you, your stars and wishes for the episode, if you had any, since still 101 up.
Yeah, we don't normally do that, do we?
Nope.
I don't know. I had a really good time the entire time. I enjoyed you really digging in with the role play of learning how to person again. I thought that was great. I liked Dakra. I really looked forward to playing her, so that was fun. Mirik didn't get completely dumpster fired, but he kind of got dumpster fired, and so not bringing him back. He's more than dead, and even if Alexander takes up the title, it's not like you're actually Orn, the dragon god. You're just somebody else who has the title. So I like the end. As one of the 10 dragon gods created by the sovereigns to fight the Infernals, the story of how did Orn become such a nihilist? Like, how did this incarnation of these cosmic forces, who's supposed to be this champion of mercy and justice and stuff, turn into this? Orn's temple is sort of an opportunity to slowly explore more of that, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay,
but
cool.
I really thought that your role play the awkward just going back to your room, like that was good. That was all really, really good. That I greatly enjoyed that. As for wishes, can't wait to do this again. And like I said, getting a little bit into Ornn's story, I think is going to be cool. And that is going to have some potential Mason tie-ins as well. You got some of that Dragon Tribe lore, right?
Yeah,
and I know that you have a lot of your sort of things pinned on Alyxander, but to keep Mason in the plot and having some things to do, like this is going to tie in at some point. It's going to involve. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right, bet. Exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to it too, for sure. I think when this, I mean, just all the culmination of things as they continue to overlap and stuff, and more things are introduced. It's fascinating.
At some point this train is going to crash.
Yeah, I mean, it has to at some point, right? How long do we keep this thing going for? Off the rails at this point, but it's still going. Yeah, that's all I had, I think.
All right. Well, as always, awesome to have you. Thanks for doing the solo episode. Loved it.
Yeah,
had a
fun.
ton of fun. And thank you everyone else. We will see you next time. Class dismissed. That's what I say. Class dismissed.